I've never been keen to read Wheel of Time. The cover is uninspiring, the blurb in my opinion is atrocious, and it's a whopping 14 novel series. The first time I tried to read The Wheel of Time, I couldn't finish it. It is so long, it's so slow. I actually gave up around book 6 or 7. By that point, I'd read almost 2 million words, and I hadn't even reached halfway. You could read the entire Wheel of Time series, or you could read all of the Lord of the Rings, all of Harry Potter, all of Dune, all of the Inheritance Cycle, and all of the Chronicles of Narnia, and then read Lord of the Rings again. So the time investment for Wheel of Time, frankly, it's massive. I didn't think the payoff was going to be worth it. The other thing that I found quite painstaking with the Wheel of Time, everything is described with so much detail. It means you can really immerse yourself in the Wheel of Time, become enveloped in this world that Robert Jordan has made, but because the series is already so long to start with, and then it gets all this detail on top, it just gets even longer. I remember in The Eye of the World, which I've read recently, there's a couple of points where I read it and I was like, man, that was like 3 pages of just detail and description. And maybe I would be happy to read 3 or 4 pages if I hadn't come across it before, but I already have. To me, the level of detail, it has its pros. In my review, I talk about how any author that can make you laugh out loud or chuckle to yourself or get a bit teary, they've succeeded because they've truly made you think about this book and told a compelling story. And that happens in The Wheel of Time, for sure. There were definitely those cases. But on the other side of the coin, it really feels like there's gold there to be found, but I have to shift tons of stuff that's sort of not interesting after you've read hundreds of pages of it. Characters. Some people go on, actually a lot of people tell me about how the character arcs in The Wheel of Time are amazing. They're some of the best they've ever read. But it always comes back to you have to persevere and get to the point. It really seems to me that The Wheel of Time is an exercise in how much can I put up with a character I dislike so that their redemption or the climax of the arc is that much better. I don't want to read these point of views for literally millions of words that I don't like because apparently it gets better at the end. And here's the thing, what if it doesn't get better? What if I've read over 4 million words and in the end I don't like it? It is just such an investment, and there are so many other fantasy books and sci-fi books that I want to read. So why would I spend that time on The Wheel of Time? How could it possibly be that good? Now I sort of anticipate that my disappointment with The Wheel of Time might ruffle a few feathers. Yo Alex, The Wheel of Time isn't a 5-star read. Oi! I would love to really enjoy this series. I'm quite disappointed that I haven't. So if you're a mad keen Wheel of Time fan, let me know in the comments. Did I miss the mark? Does it really get better? And then Amazon Prime announced a TV adaptation. And next the cast was announced. And there's a Sydney-sider, Madeline Madden, and she's Egwene in a star role. So I thought that was pretty cool. And when the trailer sort of came out, I started cracking a little bit. You know, the hype train was leaving the station and it was steadily picking up steam and I was going to be left behind. Finally, I caved. I decided I was going to reread the first book, The Eye of the World, in time for the premiere of the new TV series. Maybe I'd just woken up on the wrong side of the bed for weeks in a row while I tried to read it the first time. This time was going to be different. This time it was going to be great. Nope. The Eye of the World was worse. It was worse than I remembered. I don't know how that was possible because I didn't really like it to start with, and so many people have told me it's good. I don't understand how these die-hard fans managed to wade through these hundreds of pages of prose. So I decided to create a Twitter poll, and in one corner sat The Wheel of Time, and in the other there were all these stacks of series, and I picked series that I thought would win and The Wheel of Time would lose. And the result was that 20 people voted, and every single vote voted for The Wheel of Time. And when something is that strongly recommended, I think I've got to persevere, get to the second book, get to the third book, and then reassess from there. There's one silver lining in the clouds here for me. I really like the TV series. It makes me more excited about reading this book because then I get to see how it's been adapted to this other media. And my plan is that unlike the first time where I sort of just plowed through them, I'm going to read the next couple of novels just before the next season releases. I'm not too worried about breaking it up that much because this is the second biggest series in fantasy or sci-fi. If there is any series that you should treat as more of a marathon than a race, then it is just the monstrously large The Wheel of Time.